Yo, 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 what happening, everybody? It's your boy Sega Man with a brand new debut podcast that I'm going to be starting called Chillin' with Sega Man. Now, Game Talk with Sega Man will still be going on Saturdays. That ain't going nowhere. And you know the Exile podcast on Sunday night, 7 p.m. But this is a new podcast that I'm going to do, short podcast where I'll have, people come in the comment sections, give their opinions about gaming, anything gaming. You know what I'm saying? Just it doesn't have to just be, these gen systems like the Xbox and PlayStation. We're going to chop it up on here and talk about old school games like Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. You know what I mean? The Atari 7800, GameCube, anything like that. Atari Jaguar, it can be any system. You know what I'm saying? If there's any questions that you want to put in the comment section, always welcome. You know what I'm saying? But it's a new debut podcast called Chillin' with Sega Man, where we just talk everything about gaming. We're not going to just talk about one system. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk everything about gaming. How you guys feel about what's going on out here in the gaming news and out here in the gaming streets. You know what I mean? It's just going to be me chilling with people that come in the comment section. Always welcome. You know what I mean? You don't have to just be Xbox. You can come in here and chill, you know, and ask me some questions of maybe how I got started in gaming. You know what I mean? Different things like that. You know what I'm saying? We had one person come in and they left, but hey, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But this is a new one. A new one I want to do called Chilling with Sega Man. You know what I mean? So even if I don't get anybody, that comes in and rocks out with me, I'm still going to do this just a little podcast. It's not going to be too long, maybe about a half an hour. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. What I want to say real quick is, when I got started in gaming, man, it was a real life experience. You know what I'm saying? It was just really a great thing, getting into gaming, man. Gaming, to be honest with you guys, uh, I live here in PA. You know what I'm saying? PA is one of the most places that were really rough, in the early, to late 70s into the 80s, into the mid 90s, you know what I'm saying, out here in these streets, you know what I'm saying? Gaming, to be tell you the truth, gaming kept me out of trouble, when I was younger. Gaming kept me out of trouble, man. You know what I'm saying? I would stay in and play video games while the rest of my homeboys would be out there running the streets, getting into trouble. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are even dead right now, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And my mom always told me she was always glad that I became a gamer, to be honest with you, and that I stayed in and played video games. You know what I mean? Uh, it kept me out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? But uh, my very first experience, man, like I told people in past podcasts, and when I would talk to my exile brothers, you know what I'm saying, or he bought or anybody out here, how I got started in gaming. And how I got started in gaming, it was with the ColecoVision. You know what I mean? The ColecoVision, to be honest with you guys, was my very first system. It wasn't even the Atari 2600. You know what I mean? When people start getting into gaming, some people's family will get the will get the Intellivision, the Odyssey, something like that. And they may have started out with that. But when I was growing up, a lot of people had Ataris. A lot of people had Ataris, in their family. And they started out with an Atari system. I mean, I actually started out with a system called the ColecoVision that my mother's boyfriend actually in that time period passed down to me. You know what I mean? So that was my very first experience with gaming. You know what I'm saying? Was with the ColecoVision. And the ColecoVision was just a really awesome system. It had way better graphics than the Atari 2600. It was more expensive than the Atari 2600. And it also had uh, it was like a little expansion module that you can hook up to it and you can play 2600 games. So it was kind of more advanced back then. The ColecoVision was a little bit more advanced than any other game system that was out there. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of games for that system, and I still actually have it today. You know what I mean? So fast forward, the next one I got actually was the Atari 7800. You know what I mean? I had a lot of fun and experience with the Atari 7800. It had great colors, great graphics. You know what I mean? It was a very awesome system. You know what I mean? That I played back in the day. You know what I mean? My grandmother actually gave it to me as a present before she passed away, and it was my first color TV, and I still have and own that system today. You know what I mean? So, and I'd say after I had the Atari 7800, I started to collect. You know what I mean? I started to collect games for it. I would go to old school places that don't exist anymore. You know how you have Walmart today? Well, when I was growing up, there was a store called Zehrs, right? And I used to go to this store called Zehrs, and I used to go to another store called Murphy's Mart, and they would have all these Atari games in these big bins, for really cheap prices. You can find them brand new, still in its package and everything for like a few dollars. And I went crazy in there, man. When I got my allowance, I went crazy in there, man. And at that time, my allowance was only $10. You know what I mean? But I came out of Zehrs with like 3 or 4 games. That's how cheap those games were. And they weren't the most popular games that you would play on those old systems like the Atari 2600, like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. You know what I mean? Space Invaders, games like that. Missile Command. They were games you never heard of, really. You know what I mean? People trying, I guess, that were developers back in that day, just trying to break into gaming. You know what I mean? Some of those games, actually, guys, that you would pick up in an old school, uh, place like Zehrs, Sears, or Murphy's Mart or something like that. Some of those games today, collecting for, are worth hundreds of dollars. And when you were younger, you might have paid $5 for it. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is, man. You know what I mean? Some of these games become worth a lot of money out here. You know what I mean? When you're collecting old school. You know what I mean? So I had a lot of fun with the Atari 7800. You know what I mean? It was a lot of fun. But everybody at that time was into the Nintendo, the first Nintendo system. The first Nintendo system, when it debuted, man, it just, in a way, it wiped the floor actually with the Atari 7800. The Atari 7800 was trying to compete with the first Nintendo system, entertainment system, and it hung in there for a while, but gradually it failed. Nintendo was just destroying everything. You know what I mean? It was just every family in the United States, all over the world, had a Nintendo system. And they had great games on the Nintendo system. They had Zelda, they had the Mario game, they had the great Ninja Turtles game on there. Actually, the Ninja Turtles game that first came out on the Nintendo Entertainment System was really close to the arcade version. It did a very good job with graphics and sound effects for the regular Nintendo. You know what I mean? I owned that game back in the day. Now, I don't know whatever happened to that game. I wish I still had that game today because I recently refurbished and got an old school Nintendo system. And if I want to get that game today, it's going to cost me a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Unless I do some really good researching on that. You know what I mean? But Nintendo was a very fun system back then. And it's also an easy system to fix. It's a very easy fix to fix an old school Nintendo. You know what I mean? Versus the other old systems that were out that by that time. You know what I mean? But I spent hours and hours and hours of fun with that. I had games like Contra on there. I think it was the first Metal Gear on there. They had games like Galaga on there, different games like that, Qbert. They just were better versions of the games that were better than the Atari 7800, had better graphics and better sound. So Nintendo at that time, they really were killing it, man. There was even times where they wouldn't even let other companies make games for other systems. For instance, like the Sega Master System. When the Sega Master System came out, okay, it was a good system, and I own that today. But if you realize a lot of the games that came out on the Sega Master System were actually in-house that were made by Sega. You didn't really see Capcom games on there or Konami or any other games on there like that. You know what I mean? Most of it was made from Sega themselves because Nintendo holded that down from them getting to make versions of games for the Sega Master System. You know what I mean? So I believe there's not a Contra on there, or there wasn't like bigger games on there that actually came out for the Nintendo system. So they had a little bit more of a tough run against Nintendo. But to be honest with you, the Sega Master System was, in my opinion, was a way better system, even if they didn't have those games on there, like the games we loved on Nintendo, like the Marios or the Zeldas or things like that. Contra, different games like that. Double Dragon, but Double Dragon, I believe, actually did come out, and I believe I own it. I own it for the Sega Master System. Okay, now it wasn't as good as the Nintendo. It wasn't as good as the Nintendo version of it, but it wasn't a bad game. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad for back then, for an 8-bit system. But they did actually get Double Dragon, and I own that. And I really loved that game. And I actually still pop it in once in a while and play it. But they did get a version of that game. But that game was very, very popular on the Nintendo. It was more popular on the Nintendo than it was on the Sega Master System because it kind of reminds you more of the arcade version than I would say the Master System, in my opinion. But you know what? Sega tried when they had Double Dragon, and I'm glad to own it for the Sega Master System, guys. You know what I mean? So like I said, when the Master System came out, they had great games for it. They had the Sonic games. They had, games like Ghostbusters, Outrun, which is a great game that was on the Sega Master System. This is where those games were birthed. These games were birthed on the Sega Master System and would be gradually bigger on the newer systems like the Sega Genesis. You know what I mean? Like you had Sonic was on there. You had Shinobi. Shinobi was a great game that was on the Master System. You had Altered Beast that also was on there. Games like Vigilante, just to name a few. You know what I mean? And like I think Fantasy Zone, another great game that was on there. There was a lot of great games that came out for the Master System. The Ninja, that was a pretty good game that was on there. Vigilante, which actually was pretty good for the Master System, but when it came out on the TurboGrafx 16, and I have the TurboGrafx 16, it was done. To be honest with you, it was done way better than the Master System. You know what I mean? Vigilante on the TurboGrafx 16 was awesome game. Had awesome music. It had awesome graphics. Very colorful and very fun still today as we speak in 2021. I still actually play these games. You know what I mean? So after I had the when I got the Sega Genesis, okay, just to give you guys a little background, okay, when I got the Sega Genesis, right, I didn't own the Master System. I owned the Sega Genesis first. And then later on, when I started collecting, I bought a Master System. Way after I got my Sega Genesis and I started collecting for the Master System. And I even bought games in a used store. They were complete in their box, at least 4 or 5 games. They were like $4 a piece. They were $4 a piece. I think it was the Salvation Army. You can buy games at the Salvation Army. If you have a Salvation Army in your area, you need to go and check out your local Salvation Army, and you might find some old school video games in there. So when I bought it there, you know what I mean? I bought a few games in there, and I didn't even have a Master System yet. I bought them because I knew in the future, I'm like, man, if I pick these games up, I know one of these days I'll own a Sega Master System. So fast forward like 4 to 5 years later, I got a Master System and I got to enjoy those games. You know what I mean? So um, it was very fun to collect for. You know what I mean? The Sega Genesis will always be my favorite console My favorite console of all time. You know what I mean? It is the Sega Genesis, and it always will be. You know what I mean? But I had a lot of fun with the Sega Genesis. I have a lot of games for it, complete in its box. You know what I mean? And they had some really great games on there, guys. You know what I mean? Eternal Champions, just to name a few. The Thunder Force series, Streets of Rage. You know what I mean? The Splatterhouse games, and the Splatterhouse game actually started out on a TurboGrafx 16. You know what I mean? The first Splatterhouse was eye dropping to tell you the truth on the TurboGrafx 16, and I owned that system too. And they had a lot of great games on that system, you know. But to really collect for the TurboGrafx 16 today in 2021, it's very, very expensive. You know what I mean? Especially the games. The games actually cost more than the system itself. I did some research on it, and the system is actually cheaper than the games. You know what I mean? Now, if you want to get a PC Engine is the Japanese version of the TurboGrafx 16. And I believe in London, England, and in Britain, I guess they use the PC Engine also. I believe the TurboGrafx 16 was the American system. You know what I mean? But to collect for that system is very highly expensive. There's a lot of games I don't even own, to tell you the truth. I own a pretty good amount of games because I got lucky, to be honest with you, and found these at my exchanges for pretty fair prices. Each TurboGrafx 16 game I own wasn't over $20. Some was even cheaper that are way more expensive today. And I did a few trades with my friend Cyrus649 when he used to be on here, and he used to do trades with me on here. I would find him Nintendo stuff. He would find me Genesis stuff. If there was something he wanted and there was something I wanted, we negotiated and did it. If it wasn't for him, to be honest with you, a couple of the things that I own, I wouldn't own because some of that stuff is very expensive today. You know what I mean? When Sega Man first started out, on YouTube, I just used to do videos about the game collections that I had. You know what I mean? This is to give you a little bit of history about me. I didn't have like a nice computer to use or or camera. I used to use like this little camera that would upload. I would record on it, right? And then I can stick the USB into the computer that I owned back then and upload it from there onto YouTube. You know what I mean? The picture wasn't great. My voice might have been really loud, but I really enjoy gaming and collecting retro stuff. You know what I mean? My preferred console is the Xbox, okay? But you guys have to understand, Sega Man plays mostly everything retro. You know what I mean? Um, I have all the older systems. You know what I mean? I have a PlayStation 2, a PlayStation 1. You know what I mean? But when I first started out on here, I wasn't out here to make videos to get subscribers. Just to be honest with you, I wasn't out here to do that, guys. A lot of people come on YouTube to make it a career. There's people out here right now that is making a career out of YouTube, and that's fine and dandy. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they want to do, that's cool. You know what I mean? But I really didn't come onto YouTube, to be honest with you, to make money. I have a job. I don't need to make money on YouTube. I do YouTube because I love gaming. You know what I mean? I love gaming. I have podcasts that I do with my brothers on here. You know what I mean? And we have fun with it, with Hebot and E-Rock and all them. We have a lot of fun on here with the podcasts that we do. But just to give you a little history background about myself, I didn't get into YouTube to get 1K subscribers, or I never thought of it back then. I just did videos to show old school games that I had, hopefully to find other people that were like me. And to tell you the truth, there was a guy named Cobra DVS. Now you can look Cobra DVS up right now, and he does a show right now. I still watch his videos. I don't think he trades much anymore, but he has a little show, and he's still around. You know what I mean? And me and him used to trade all the time. Like I told you, my friend Cyrus649. If you look up Cyrus649 right now on YouTube, you will find his channel, but he doesn't really upload anything anymore. He has a really great job right now, and he's not really into uploading videos anymore about video games. Now his thing was Nintendo, okay? Game Boy, right? He owns a lot of Game Boy games. He owns ones from Japan. You know what I mean? He owns all kind of type of Game Boy games. He's a diehard Game Boy collector. This man, I believe, has a whole US version of Game Boy games because that was his system of choice. Now he has a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3. He owned an Xbox 360. You know what I mean? And we're actually still friends today. We still actually give each other Christmas presents. You know, now he lives in Louisiana, okay? But we still talk to this day. He's still my friend on here. So when I first started out, I used to deal a lot with him, with SAR 649, Cobra DVS, and then there was other guys that found out about me, you know what I mean? And it's like, hey, Sega man, I seen a really cool game that I want that I seen in your video. Would you be willing to do a trade with me? So we would do a trade. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm on YouTube right now, guys. I mean, I made my channel bigger, you know what I mean, with Game Talk with Sega Man, talking about stuff out here in these gaming streets. But I will always do videos on gaming, on showing you classic retro systems. You know what I mean? Showing you games that I enjoy and play. You know what I mean? Uh, some people, they really get it wrong about me. What's up, Emmanuel? What's up? What's going on, brother? Yeah, man. This is Emmanuel. This is just a new podcast, brother. I'm gonna do probably on Mondays. Game Talk with Sega Man will still go on Saturdays, man. But it's called Chilling with Sega Man. It's just gonna be us talking about anything gaming. Like I'm telling the people that came in here, how I started out in gaming, brother. You know what I'm saying? And the systems that I had great experiences with and collecting for them. You know what I mean? So it's just where everybody can come in. Everybody's welcome to come in that wants to chop it up with us, talking about gaming, old school gaming, stuff that's going on today in gaming. You know what I mean? Experiences with gaming, and why you got into gaming. You know what I mean? So that's what this podcast is going to be about, man. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be PlayStation, uh, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast. You remember those? Uh, Anything, GameCube, Super Nintendo, real old school systems, brother. Like the Atari 5200. You know, systems that your dad you might enjoyed playing games with your dad, your moms. You know what I mean? Having wholesome fun in gaming, man, back when we were kids. You know what I'm saying? You never forget those times. You really never forget those times, Emmanuel. You know what I'm saying? Those will stand in the history of times of having fun playing video games with, your friends or your family. You know what I mean? And I did that a lot, man. I'm 48 years old, guys. I don't need to hide my age. Sega Man is always going to be real with all y'all out there. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this shit for a long time, man. And I just want to just talk games and chop it up. You know what I mean? So what I was talking about is just the various systems I have, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hey, Emmanuel, I hope so, man. And like I said in the beginning of this podcast, Emmanuel, I was telling people that were in here. There was like 5 people in here. I was telling them when I first got into gaming, bruh. I mean, well, on YouTube. I didn't do this for for subscribers because I really honestly didn't know about the subscriber thing and making money on YouTube. I honestly never got into YouTube for making money. I got into YouTube for just showing a brother's perspective of gaming and, and collecting for gaming, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's welcome, but I want people to see what we collect, what we do, and we like gaming too. Everybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be, us. You know, I mean, everybody, man. That is really cool and likes gaming. They're not down with any racist stuff or anything because we don't need that right now. You know that, Emmanuel. We don't need that right now in gaming. Unfortunately, it's here, but we got to try to stay positive. When it comes to just really chilling and just chilling out and talking about gaming, brother. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do this once a week. It might be on Monday or a Tuesday, and I'll probably make it at least a half hour. You know what I mean? Or half an hour to an hour. That's it. Not 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna try my best to do this, man, because it's just something I believe that we need to do as a stress reliever. You know what I'm saying? It takes your worries away for a while for what's going on out here in the world right now. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So, but I was just telling people I didn't do this for that, and I'm still not doing that today. I mean, if I was to ever get 1K subscribers, yes, I would be happy. You know what I'm saying? I would be happy. I know that more people are coming to like my stuff and like my channel, of course. You know what I mean? But I didn't get into YouTube to make money. You know what I mean? I got money, man. I have a job. You know what I mean? I don't need YouTube for money. You know, I do this because of the love of gaming. You know what I mean? And I like showing people, what I got and how I rock out when it comes to gaming, man. Everybody's different. Everybody's different out here. And we can get along. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be always fighting each other all the time. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to gaming. You know what I mean? Because let's just be honest. Nobody's gonna stop playing PlayStation. All right, that likes PlayStation. Let's just keep it real out here in these gaming streets, okay? Nobody's going to stop playing PlayStation. The true PlayStation fans, they're not going to stop playing PlayStation. They like PlayStation. You know where where that is at the rot of the core where that is. You know where it's at, Emmanuel. A lot of people do, and they're ruining gaming. They really are. They're helping to ruin gaming. You know what I mean? But we have to have people like us to keep it alive and keep it strong and well. I don't have I don't have no ill will towards true PlayStation gamers or even Nintendo gamers. If they like the Nintendo Switch, brother, they want to rock out with a Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 5 or 4 or whatever they like to rock out with, cool. Cool. But you should also be cool with me and accept me for who I am because I'm an Xbox dude. Straight up. You should be cool with me because I'm a gamer just like you. You know what I'm saying? You can rock out with true PlayStation fans and you guys can rock out together, share things. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's the trolls out there. They're going to, say stuff about the videos and all that. But to be honest with you guys, those dudes ain't going nowhere. There's always going to be something where they make up something about Xbox. No, I'm really used to that now. I'm really used to that now. And I'm not paying attention to that anymore. But I will not tolerate that on my channel anymore, man. Because you're never going to change Sega, man. I rock out with Xbox. That's the way it is, you know? And that's the way it always will be. But I've showed people numerous times that I'm not a hater of PlayStation game systems. My favorite PlayStation game system is the PlayStation 2. I believe it is the best PlayStation, in my opinion, that was ever made. And there's a lot of people that agree with me on that. I went to my exchange, right? Went to buy some games, right? There was this younger white cat, right? We're looking at games. This is a true story. We're looking at games. And he's looking at PlayStation 2 games. He actually worked there. He said, yeah, man. I love the PlayStation 2. I said, hey, man, there ain't nothing wrong with the PlayStation 2. I collect for the PlayStation 2. And in my opinion, it's the best PlayStation ever made. And he said he agreed with me. And he owns a PlayStation 4. He owns a PlayStation 4 Pro. And he says in he believes that the PlayStation 2 is the best PlayStation ever made. He was a PlayStation collector. And he was a younger cat than me, and we got along. The chemistry was awesome. This young, this young cat was rocking out with me, and we was talking about gaming, bro, while I was buying gaming games. You know what I'm saying? And he's a gamer, and he's way younger than me. He probably was like 19, 19 or 20, young cat. Not all this bullshit out here with these young kids out here talking crap about you suck and your Xbox and blah 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 and all that. This was a millennial. This was a millennial talking to an OG gamer. and we was rocking out and just talking about gaming. So you can't tell me it can't be done. You know what I mean? It can be done. You know what I'm saying? Every millennial out here that's a gamer is not a troll gamer. They're a true gamer, not a troll gamer. There is ones out here that like video games. You know what I mean? And he didn't even say nothing bad whatsoever about Xbox or anything like that. We was just chopping it up, man, chilling. You know, while I was in there buying games with my son. You know what I mean? So this podcast, I'm gonna do this podcast once a week called Chilling with Sega Man. And whoever comes in, like my brother Emmanuel came in, shouts out to Emmanuel. Let me put Emmanuel up here real quick. He came in to check me out. You know what I'm saying? He's always with me, you know. And like he said, when you get the yeah, when you get the 1K, hey Emmanuel, if I ever do, brother, if I ever do, man, hey, if I get to 500 subscribers, I'm gonna thank everybody. I'm gonna thank everybody who subscribed to me because I appreciate you. And I'm thankful that you like my channel and you like what I got to talk about, brother, when it comes to gaming. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to just be, it could be anybody. It could be some white cats out there, anybody. You know what I'm saying? This is not a racist channel. Long as you ain't racist against me, I can rock out with you. But I mean, this is not a racist channel. You know what I'm saying? It's not a racist channel at all. People in the community, they got a lot of people who I rock out with. They got them mixed up. I know these people. I know who they are. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people out here, they're just very disrespectful, man, and they don't know how to act. People would gamers out here, YouTubers that do gaming channels, right? People have to think about it. Some of those dudes out there would be different if you would show some goddamn respect for the OG gamers out here, man. Show some respect. You know what I mean? Because these dudes know what they're talking about, man. It's not nothing against you. It's something that you can learn from. It's not taking nothing away from you, G. It's not. We're just talking about, games that we enjoyed, the knowledge of gaming. You know what I mean? What's going on today? Like He bot's a living example of this. You know this, Emmanuel. The brother knows what he's talking about when it comes to gaming. If you really listen to him in the podcast, he knows what he's talking about. He has his views and his opinions on things. He is allowed to. He's a grown ass man. He can do that. So can E-Rock. Everybody is not the same. Everybody cannot be the way you want them to be. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate. I'm gonna be honest with you, Emmanuel. I don't hate. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't hate Next Gen 720. Okay, I don't hate him. All right, he's still a brother. All right, I don't hate him. All right, he's doing what he's doing over there. There's some things people disagree with. There's a lot of things that that Next Gen has probably done. You know what I mean? With his channel and to certain people, but I don't hate him. You know what I'm saying? I used to listen to Next Gen 720 a long time ago when he would talk a lot about Xbox, but I never knew really what Next Gen is all about. I mean, maybe his character, you know what I'm saying? His channel is very successful, you know what I'm saying? But it's just the way I think he did it that just really turned people away from him. Now, I don't rock out with Next Gen 720 no more. I don't, but I don't hate the brother. All right. I don't hate him. You know what I mean? If that's what Next Gen wants to do, that's what he wants to do. Now he might he kind of hurt some people that are close to me in the gaming community. I'm not going to mention no names, but I still rock out with them. You know what I'm saying? And I support them, and I always will. But I don't hate anybody. Okay, whatever he does, you know what I'm saying, Emmanuel. That's good for him. You know what I'm saying? But there's just some out there. Some of those channels out there, man. They just hey, they're doing it for the clicks. And let's just be honest. when they're done doing their podcasts or doing their videos, it bothers them. Everybody's human, all right? And they do this to make money. If they want to do that, that's fine. I'm gonna try to find the they had do negative. I'm gonna always try to find the positive. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, brother. You know what I mean? But I don't hate my brothers. You know what I mean? I don't. He's still a brother. You know what I mean? And I don't hate Next Gen 720. You know what I mean? I don't hate any of the I don't hate any of the I don't like what some of the brothers out here that are doing and on their YouTube channels. They know who they are, but I don't hate them. They're still my brothers. That's I'm a real cat, man. I don't hate them. You know what I'm saying? But there's just some things, to be honest with you, Emmanuel, that they really need to change, man. I mean, they really need to think about it. Some things they should really try and just change and be a little bit more positive about, certain things out here, man. You know what I mean? But back to, this, man. But yeah, I'm gonna do this podcast, man. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a great time, you know. And I'm just gonna just every week just talk about things in general, things that might be going on out here. You know what I mean? Talking about vintage systems. Maybe even do a live show, bro, and show my systems live instead of always doing a video. I might show games and vintage systems live and talk about it. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to do out here, man. You know what I mean? But this is gonna be called, chilling with Sega, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, brother, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna end the show here in a little bit, Emmanuel. But I appreciate you coming out, man, and support me, man. You know what I'm saying? And doing this, you know what I mean? But yeah, brother, like I said before, you know, um, I own a lot of systems, handhelds. I own the PSP. I have a lot of games for it. I own a Superboy. You could play, regular Super NES games on it. And I think what I'm gonna do, I think the next one I'm gonna do, man, I think I'm gonna actually do it live. I'm gonna show some things and do it live, man. You know what I mean? You know, um, like I said before closing out, I don't really hate what some of these brothers are out here doing, but they should be a little bit more considerate, and not be like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but there's people out there that are always going to, not like me. Thank you, Emmanuel. That don't like me, man, or like the Exile podcast, or even Game Talk with Sega Man, or even Hebot. What we got next, or any of us, Unlimited One Productions. But these brothers are all different. They're all different. Tuckmaster, we're all different, man. We're not the same. The podcast would not work out if we were all the same. Everybody can agree to disagree on different things. You know what I'm saying? That's what a podcast is about. You know what I mean? And I mean, if we could, to be honest with you, it would be nice to have a true PlayStation fan come on the Exile podcast, and or even Game Talk with me on Saturday. Or even if they want to come on here, what I mean, chilling with Sega, man, and just be real. I mean, don't come in here with all that, that garbage, and breathing hard and acting stupid. You know what I mean? If you want to come in here and just really chop it up and talk gaming, that's cool. You can be a PlayStation dude and come in here and don't be disrespectful and, down on me because I like Xbox. You know what I'm saying? We can be very respectful, and do a positive podcast. Yeah, I mean, always welcome here, man. If you're a Nintendo fan, you want to come in and chop it up with Sega Man and talk about Nintendo, old school Nintendo, you like the Switch or whatever, that's fine. But don't come in here, me let you in here and you're acting stupid and trying to troll me and trying to get some kind of shine, because that ain't going to happen here. But if you're into just talking about gaming, it could be anything. It could be a older dude coming in here talking about how he loved the Atari 5200, or he still owns one or something like that, or talking about an Intellivision, or something like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? We could do that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Sega Man loves gaming. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? But this is going to be a new short podcast. I'm going to end it right now. It's like 4:30. I thank Emmanuel for coming in. The next one I do, I might make it like a half an hour to an hour. And if anybody it wants to come in, like Emmanuel, had Emmanuel come in here, gave his thoughts about things. This is a test run for chilling with Sega Man. You know what I mean? So I really thank Emmanuel for coming, man. Thank you, brother. But I'm going to end it right now. But like I said, come and chop it up with your boy Sega Man. All right. You can always come in here uh, and talk gaming with me, man, and not be judged. Put it that way. You can come in here, talk true gaming. Now, don't come in here with no funny, goofy stuff. But you can always come in here and chop it up with me. All right. And nobody's going to discredit you here. You know what I'm saying? This is what I want to do. So all right, guys, you guys be safe out there. Yes, it's the beginning of the week. It's Monday. you know, let's look forward to Friday. You know what I mean? So we can enjoy the weekend again, guys, and do some more gaming. And come and join us. Come and join me on Game Talk with Sega Man at 7 p.m. I mean, Exile Podcast. You'll see me on there at 7 p.m. Sunday nights, and you can always find me Saturdays with Game Talk with Sega Man with Hebot and Tuck Master's crazy ass sometimes. So peace and love, guys. All right, Xbox for life. We don't die. We multiply. And please wear your mask, man. Wear your mask. All right. If you don't wear it for you, wear it for other people, man. All right. Be respectful out here in these gaming streets. All right, man. Peace and love.